All right, good evening. Good evening. This is the regular meeting for the Town of New Canaan Police Commission, October 16th, 2024. First item on the agenda is minutes from the previous meeting from September 18th. Any additions or corrections?
No here.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Chief, if you would give the monthly reports, please.
Sure. We are roughly 2.5 months into this budget year. So, we're a quarter to a third of the way through, and we are operating right at 25% the overall budget. So we're on track there. I also ran just the overtime numbers, and we're at a burn rate of about 33% there, so we're a little higher than the rest of the budget, but I'll keep an eye on that and see where we go. But not too far off, but a little higher than you'd like to see it.
Okay.
Next is monthly statistics. You can see that we've increased significantly in motor vehicle stops and activity. Radar, laser, selective enforcement, motor vehicle violations are significantly higher. For the past 2 months, we've been really focusing hard on getting our troops out there and taking a proactive stance on motor vehicle violations.
Also, there's on location checks, that was up a lot.
Yeah.
What's that
You
about?
know, officers are checking the parks, checking the schools, those areas for car breaks and those sorts of things. So they're out there checking quite a bit.
Just to
Concerning things though, are the stolen vehicles are up almost double from last year, year to date. We're at 33 this year, where last year we were at 17. And also the vandalism, but a lot of the vandalism complaints that we've received were due to graffiti that Officer Bertulli is working hard to identify, and she's working diligently on those calls though. But those are more than double as well.
And so burglaries, there's 5 burglaries this month versus nothing in August.
just
Yeah, then those again are, you know,
Trends,
we're year to date, we're at 16. Last year we were at 13. So those are just kind of trends. Sometimes you get hit, you know, they go through and kind of do a rash, you know, little spurts.
Yep.
So, but overall, year to date, we're about the same.
And for the month,
of September, you know, when there's 1,462 sort of points of contact, that's basically 4,950 points of contact a day. So when people think there's not a lot going on in town, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in town, right?
Yeah, for the month, it's 1,400 to 1,500 calls for service.
Yeah, right. Our guys and gals are very busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
We average somewhere around 14,000 to 15,000 calls for service a year.
Do the vehicle thefts track with what's happening in Fairfield Town generally?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah, this is not just a New Canaan thing. It's certainly a regional epidemic. Yeah. And staffing reports. Last month, we operated at minimum shift 60% of the time, which is a nice improvement. We were, it seems like August and September, we were down to 60%, where, previously and during the summer, we were up closer to 80%. And we know that working at minimum shift is a significant driver of overtime. Good news is we've graduated. The 3 officers that were in the training academy have graduated on October 2nd. They're out on field training now, so they'll do field training for approximately 10 weeks. So should see them out on their own around mid-December. And with those 3 new officers, we can then move our other officers into the school resource officer positions at the elementary schools.
And we've identified who those are, right? For the
Yes.
elementary, yeah,
Yes.
great. Okay.
And that's all I have for reports.
Okay, next, topics for discussion. What I'd like to be able to do is to move, a motion to move item B up to A and item A to item B. So we'll move Mill Road up first on the update and then discuss the detours for the water main around South Avenue second. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay. So let's discuss Mill Road update. Deputy Chief Walsh.
Sure, I can give an update on the study we've done over the past week. We only have a week's worth of data. We got a new piece of equipment, as I mentioned in the last meeting. It's a covert speed sentry, so it records the speed and volume and direction of travel and the different times of day when the vehicles are coming through. Over that past week, we've seen our 50th percentile speed at 27 miles an hour and our 85th percentile speed at 31 miles an hour northbound. Southbound, 50th percentile is 26 miles an hour and the 85th percentile is 29 miles an hour. Comparably to August, when we saw our 50th percentile at 17 miles an hour and the 85th percentile speed at 23 miles an hour. So obviously, when the speed isn't being displayed, there's a higher level of speed on the roadway. Also, we've seen the average volume per day increase markedly. Right now, we're 986 cars traveling northbound and a day average 919 cars southbound, which is compared to 237 we had northbound back in August. So I don't know if that has something to do with a delay with road work or if it's the new piece of equipment that's not reading something properly. We might have to go take a look at it, but I think that's something the residents might have an idea on. They live there, so.
Yeah, if I could ask, is there a noticeable amount of increase in traffic, like 3 times? Or is it maybe our equipment's not calibrated right?
Maybe it's seasonal traffic perhaps.
3 times is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. The one thing I would add about placement of equipment, it was, first of all, thank you all for.
Okay, could you, why don't you identify yourself and
I'm
come
Brian.
on up and talk? Hey, Brian, come on up.
Put the mic.
Down here.
Oh, well, yeah, we even give you bring cash up.
I want to thank you all for the time and the service. The speed is bad, like really bad. Obviously, we've talked about it. And I want to just try to figure out a couple of solutions. Something that I just kind of thought of just now was, would you ever utilize speed cameras that would actually ticket? It would pay for itself. I know there's issue with the zoning with as far as the snow removal for speed bumps. That seems like a bit of an issue.
Right.
But if this thing would pay for itself, it might mitigate some of the 33% over time, get that back down to 25%.
We don't get money.
I know, I'm
You don't
joking.
get money for
I'm
tickets.
joking,
yeah.
but I'm saying it should pay for itself.
But it
and that
we
would- that
don't, we
would
don't
for
receive
sure-
money for the tickets, any infractions that are issued.
I'm sorry, it was a light joke.
Yeah.
I apologize. I was just trying to think of a solution that could be effective, that would pay for itself
Yeah.
and also not interfere with traffic.
We do have
Those
to
zones.
look into the utilization of speed cameras, speed ticket cameras. It's something that's newly implemented into the state of Connecticut. Prior to last year, it wasn't allowed. It's something that's brand new. So a lot of municipalities are figuring out how to do it following the state statute. It's very restrictive
Sure.
on how it can be implemented, as you can imagine. So it's something that we could certainly look into, and we have looked into it for other areas of town. So it's obviously, purchasing equipment and following the state statute on how to implement it and how it can be utilized. But that's something that
Seems like it's down the line.
it's down the line, but having said that, once those speed cameras get put into Waze, people slow right down because nobody wants to.
That's fine,
you know,
as long as they
nobody-
slow down.
Yeah, no, no.
I'm indifferent
Yeah,
how
no,
they slow
but
down.
They
you know?
work, they work.
They
And
for
once-
sure
yeah,
work. I know
Once
they work.
once they're on
And
the,
it's known, it becomes
yeah,
known, you know,
yeah.
because most of the traffic that our neighbors can contribute there, it's repeat traffic, you know, some of the landscapers drive fast, some people that go to the restaurant drive fast, and it really is an issue. And the one thing I would add too, the location on, speed, monitor, that's at like one of the biggest straightaways of the entire street. But people are going that speed right around the corners is really the issue. There's, one of the roads really turns into a one-lane road, and that's where I almost got like really killed with my son and my daughter. We were walking around, and my daughter said that. Like, would it be helpful for me to file a police report to help push things more? Like, I'm kind of asking you all what the best mode to do is to help move something forward.
it's not that that it needs to be moved forward. You know, we're certainly aware of it and there's nothing more that needs to be reported. Certainly if something occurs, feel free to report it. And if you have something identifiable on a car that we can pursue, absolutely report that. That's not gonna make the argument any more sincere. We certainly hear that. And just one thing on the placement of the devices, we do have to have them on somewhat a straight section of road, just because of the nature of how they work. They won't pick up cars on the curves. So, you know, if they are speeding on the curves, you know, they are going to speed on this straightaway even more. So
Right.
we're aware of that.
There was some trimming that was going to be done.
I have to defer to Tiger on that.
Tiger, did that get done?
I had my crews, my crews went out and did what they could. They're gonna go back out again before leaf season and try to trim some more.
Okay. Thank you. Any other, we'll continue to monitor and update this again next month.
Yeah, we'll take another look at the equipment. Like I said, it's new, so we'll try and figure out the volume issue and see if that's actually something that's going to be consistent. And we'll keep gathering data for now. And it is on our speed enforcement list.
Yeah.
We've graciously allowed to use the barn as a spot to
Okay.
hide our car. So we'll make sure our officers are down there in the next few weeks and see if they can.
Ross
anything
Cronenberg's
up.
garage. Yep.
Sure.
Can I just say?
Sure.
a quick thing?
Yep.
No use all 5 barn. Thank you for.
Oh, it's yours, not
installing it there,
Ross's.
and feel free to put a car there.
Thank you.
At any time. So, Noah Usall from 207 Mill Road. What I wanted to bring up, and I have no idea how to address this since it's in a different town, but the valley parking situation at Gray Barns is such that just takes place in the middle of the road. And I don't know how this is allowed. I know this is a Norwalk issue because it's in Norwalk, but you essentially have cars just coming to a stop on a road, which is an emergency snow route, right? So that's the big knock on why we can't do all these things, but Norwalk is stopping traffic to let this private business use a public road as a valley parking system, when they could very easily have the cars pull into the lot, turn around, park, and then have them meet them in their parking lot and then pull out going in, guess what direction, towards Norwalk instead of towards New Canaan. So I think it's a pretty simple fix. If we could just somehow suggest to Gray Barns or however that could go down, I think it would save a lot of cars coming northbound and you'd see the difference in your traffic data.
So how does it contribute to our
Well,
traffic?
first of all, people leaving come, especially I would say Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, when they've been at brunch, come speeding back up the road. And I think I see at least just kind of my kids out there, a lot of people that I don't recognize coming up, I assume from Gray Barns, speeding up the road. If they were to, I don't know if they all live in New Canaan, but if you were to set the system as such that it's directed to go back out and you're leaving Gray Barns and you're heading south, you're just going to go south, whether or not. And then if you have to turn around and go north, you'll probably do that, but most likely you'll
Turn right onto, get up, so.
yeah. So, that's a problem that I've noticed just seeing cars that I know are going to Gray Barns or having seen cars at Gray Barns and knowing that as I'm coming back home from grocery store or something, then seeing that car rip up the street and knowing that that was someone that was eating at Gray Barns. So Gray Barns is a fine place, but that's a big problem. The valley parking system in the middle of the road, not to mention it causes just traffic at certain points too, which is not good.
Traffic would slow cars down. though.
It would, but also prevent,
Yeah.
say like a fire truck or ambulance getting in there if we had to, but.
Can we reach out to Norwalk Police and
Yeah, you
You're-
can reach out
you're-
to Terry and yeah, we have.
you know who to talk to over there?
Yep.
Bring that to their attention. All right, so we'll bring that to their attention.
Great.
What
That's
about
all I
the
have.
barns?
Well, the
Oh, they can
Norwalk
do the-
police will deal with
God.
it.
Okay, is there?
And thank you for
Yeah,
listening to all of
thank you
this.
for
pointing that out.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi,
Heidi.
I'm Carla Lewis. This is Dashel. We live at 160 Mill Road. So I know that last week, one of our neighbors brought up that they are right on the bend where people speed. We're actually the bookend, so we're the other bend. And people do come around very quickly. I do want to also say that this happens at night as well. It's less of a pedestrian issue because most people are inside their homes. But I've called the police probably 4 to 5 times as recently as Saturday for people speeding down the road. I mean, it sounds like people are drag racing. I mean, I don't know if it's teenagers or what's going on, but word's gotten out that we're a great place to race. So I just think that, you know, it's imperative that we fix this because it's happening really all the time. People are out walking their dogs and, you know, this happens. I mean, it's not just going to be children, it's going to be other people that are going to get hurt as well. So I don't know if you had this study set up around Saturday night around midnight, but maybe you can tell me how fast
Well,
they were
it picks
going.
up speed 24 hours a day.
Okay,
So we
so,
can look at the tables and look at that. But the maximum speed has only changed by 1 mile an hour from the last study. So,
okay, well, I called at midnight on Saturday. And then, you know, the other thing I was curious about, and, you know, maybe this is just, you know, for my own knowledge, but what does it mean to be a snow route removal road? I'd never heard that. We've been here about 7 years. My husband grew up in New Canaan. He'd never heard that. So I was just curious what it means and how many of them are around. Thank you.
Tiger, do you want to answer that?
I don't
The,
think it's a snow, I don't think it's a, we don't have a snowplow removal route. It's an emergency services road, an emergency response road. We don't have a snow removal road. We remove snow on every single road. So that's, I think it's an emergency response road is what is the designation.
There's a sign in front of Great Barnes that says emergency snow removal. That's what she's
That-
referring to. But
That could be
That might be
Norwalk
Norwalk.
sign.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Norwalk sign. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Tom Brown. I'm at 32 Mill Road, a little further up. I'm here to lend my voice and support for my neighbors, but I'd also just like to add on a couple of items. One of them is that there's a couple of spots on that road where it is down to basically like a 1-lane situation. You're familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, and I highly advocate for any kind of speed bump that you could put there. And I know that you say it's an emergency route. Isn't every road an emergency route? I mean, if you have to get an emergency vehicle down there.
I don't, just to clarify, I don't think he said that the mill was an emergency route. That's the only designation that New Canaan has. We don't have a snow removal route. Tiger, do you know if Mill is on that list for emergency?
I don't believe Mill is on that list. No.
I think that's a Norwalk sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
But to echo what Noah said, at Gray Barnes, you know, they take the valet right there on the road. And then when you come back out, they point you in that direction to go up Mill that way as opposed to going, which is River Road and then turns into Mill. So if they pointed them in the other direction, I think that would help. The other part is next to where Neil is there, it's super narrow. And I don't know if, you know, it's like 1 lane. And I think that's where a lot of us have had most of the problems in that area. And I don't know if that signage, 1 lane, what have you, you know, as like it almost is on the Borglum Bridge to go across there, you know, you got to wait until the other car kind of comes through for that to go, but you have a line of sight there. So, anyway, so those are a couple of.
No, I know approximately what number is that, where it's.
350, the last in New Canaan, right on the border.
Right, there.
That where it
gets the
narrows?
tightest.
That's where it gets there, and there's a bend there.
There's a couple tightest.
Well, it's a blind curve there.
Yeah.
It's a blind curve by going north where the modern house is. I don't know what to call it, but like Tokiki knows.
That's
That-
ours,
that too?
it's 160.
No, that house. But actually coming here today, there was a woman walking her dog, standing right in front of your house. Off the road, but still on the road. And I had to get in the left-hand lane, basically, with the hill coming right towards me. So if somebody came over that hill it would have been a head-on collision. Now fortunately, we're very aware of that, but there's not really there are more spaces on that road that turn it into a one-lane road or a blind curve or a hill. I mean, and I'm glad we clarified the emergency route, because my question was going to be, I thought it was a snow emergency route, that's what I heard and all of that. My question was going to be, number one, why is it Mill Road? And wouldn't Silver Mine Road be a much better route? Because I mean, there are a lot, I lived here my whole life, there are a lot of curvy roads and hills. Mill has all of those. I mean, it is very dangerous. And I would just add that and thank you for doing this, we really appreciate it. But I lived on the street for 10 years and there's almost been a total turnover, lots of young families and people very passionate about this issue. So for us, while we absolutely appreciate what you're doing, we're really looking, doesn't have to be today, next week, next month, but a solution, because our fear is, and I saw, Brian's family almost get hit by this car, and it was so frightening. Since the last meeting a month ago, and when I go out of my driveway, blind spot this way, pretty blind spot this way, because my neighbor's hydrangeas on the road. I roll down my windows in February, whatever, so I can listen, and I pull out very slowly. And twice in the last month, I almost got slipped, like big time, people going super fast. So it's a really, really big issue, and we're really hoping for a solution. But we'll continue. The street is very, very united, and we just want to prevent somebody from getting killed, and I'm sure you do too. And it's a miracle it hasn't happened.
And I would say with that, I mean, here's proof that the neighborhood's changed. These little guys here. So, and I know that was mentioned in the last meeting. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Yeah. I mean, Tiger, we've talked about, you really can't put white lines in there or hash marks on corners. I don't know. I think we got to continue to look at something like that. We don't have them anywhere else in town, but.
We look, yeah, I mean, we can install edge striping on the other striping we'd have to look at. There's a couple sections of the street. There's one section of the street that's 16 feet wide, and there's another section that's 17 feet wide. The rest of it is about 20 feet. Those two narrower sections make it a little bit difficult to narrow any further. But the rest of it we can certainly look at other options. I know the striping that you're mentioning, but we couldn't do it in those areas because it effectively narrows the road down too much. We get with an increasingly wider stripe, you can actually effectively narrow the road, but we can't do that in a couple of the really narrow sections to make it any narrower than it is. But we can take a look and see if there's certain things we can do.
Okay, and we'll get more data and come back with more data, because we only have 1 week of data, basically.
Excuse me, if the data is same, would that be grounds, is there a criteria for speed bumps, or how do we?
Yeah, we've been very reluctant to put speed bumps in anywhere in town for emergency vehicles and snow plows and things like that.
Just so we're aware, and I think you spoke to this. If speed humps go in, there comes road markings and signage, and you can disagree with them, but those will be part of it. So it will look very visible, because we can't, in good conscience, put in speed humps without advanced warning, because we don't want cars flying off
I
it.
totally agree with that.
So-
I think what you need to do is look at, and maybe it doesn't matter so much, but what other towns, so like Darien.
That's not necessarily always a good measure, because some other towns don't maintain them the way that they should. So if we were to, I'm not saying that we are installing speed humps or we're anywhere near that, but if we are, we're going to follow the established federal guidelines on how to install them and how to properly mark them, and use those as our templates. So we can't, in good conscience and for liability reasons, just put them in with minimal markings or no markings, so.
Well, nobody expects you to do it with no markings. I mean,
Yeah.
That's obvious.
And obviously, we're conscious of the neighborhood and we don't want to detract from that, but whatever traffic calming measures we do choose to do may come with some additional signage or additional road markings and some of those sorts of things that I know you've said before don't work, but that's your opinion. We have to follow what the experts say are true traffic calming measures.
We have to live on the street.
Understood. So we'll certainly, before we do anything, we'll work with you. We won't implement anything without getting the community's input and support. So we don't want to, what I'm saying is we don't want to install something that's atrocious looking, just, and then that'll take away the character of the neighborhood as well.
Last time
Yeah.
in front of the Guild, that
You're
those
right.
big signs,
Yeah.
that's not what we're looking for. I do have one question though. What is a no through truck sign mean? Because I believe Norwalk, when I spoke to the police officer 8 years ago, who was sitting outside, I just assumed, but silly me, I guess, that meant that trucks could only go onto the street if they were making a delivery. They couldn't
No.
use it to cut through. He said, no, that's
Yeah.
not right.
No.
And he tried to explain to me, and quite honestly, I just didn't understand.
If the truck has a delivery in New Canaan, anywhere in New Canaan, it means no through the entire town. So if, let's say it's a FedEx truck and they have a delivery in New Canaan, they're permitted to use that. So it's very, very limited on, people think, well, no, pretty much.
I would just add that it is very much a cut through, so over Boardman Road, over the 1-lane bridge. Lots of landscape, people just preferring for whatever reason to cut down that way instead of going on Silvermine. I don't really get the logic of that, but it is a major cut through for Wilton. And I think also, and for New Canaan and just people, lots of landscapers. And then I would also say, if you took a poll of the street, I'm just guessing, at least 70 to 80% feel very strongly about this. If you took a poll of all the walkers, and the majority of those are people that live in Wilton, in Norwalk, I mean, it's constant, and that's part of the nice part of the street, like the community.
That's a great.
I would say it would be at least that or higher, because I'm sure many of those people have experienced almost being hit as we have. Now, there are some people that don't take personal responsibility and will walk at dusk when I'm coming home in black clothing. So I do believe in personal responsibility, but if I hit somebody like that, then it will be my fault, and then I will it would be a horrible thing to happen. So it's a mixed bag, and we really do appreciate everything. We really
Okay, so
do.
we're going to continue to work on it. It's not a low priority, it's a high priority here.
That's very clear. Thank you.
But you bring up a good point in that now that it is getting to be dusk a lot earlier, like an hour earlier, people continue to be out with their dogs or kids after school walking, and they are in dark outfits. They're not wearing reflective gear. They're not using a flashlight. They've got a dog and they're on their cell phone and they're walking down the middle of the road. I see it on 106, I see it on 123. It's just, it drives you crazy that something's going to happen out there. And we're aware of it. And we're trying to do social media to make people aware that, hey, it's now 7 o'clock. It's dark. It's 6:30 and it's dark out there now, especially if a headlight's coming at you. You can't see that other person walking. So we need to get the public to be more aware and take on some more personal responsibility and have reflective gear and have flashlights and have even a flashing beacon on themselves when they're out.
Really a perfect recipe for a disaster.
It is. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we're on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. You can stay.
I got it. Hey, really appreciate it.
Come on, you can stay.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item B, which is approval of a detour for the water main installation on South Avenue. Tiger, this is yours.
Okay, thank you very much first for having us. I'm joined by Michael Erickson. He's with the engineer for Aquarian Water Company. Dennis Fields is the project manager. And they're going to walk you through basically, this is the 36-inch water main that's been traveling from Wilton up through New Canaan and will end at Waveney Park. So they're almost complete in Wilton. They're working on the stretch right now from on 106 from Canoe to Valley. That'll be wrapping up at the end of the week, and then they're going to switch over, pave the stretch from Little Brook, Clapboard Hill to Carter, completely mill off the road curb to curb and repave it completely, so it'll be a brand new road. That'll take the next couple of weeks, and then after that, they're going to top out the area, overlay the area from Carter to Valley that they had worked on this year. And next year, they're planning on to finish that stretch, as well as work on the stretch that we're going to mention now, which is from Harrison Avenue to Farm Road on South Avenue through the summer of next year. And with that comes several detours that the DOT is requiring the LTA to approve prior to them approving the encroachment permits in South Avenue is Route 124, and it's a state road. So I don't want to steal all of Michael's thunder, but that in essence is it. I'll have him walk you through this portion of the project. If you got questions on this portion or any other portion that we've done so far, let us know, and then hopefully the detours meet your approval. So, Mike, thank you very much.
That was a great intro. You covered a lot of my material, honestly. I also have on the line Bijal Anu, who is my project engineer, to help back me up if I get stuck. And I have Dennis Fields with Aquarian Water. He's actually the owner of the project, if we have owner-related questions. So we're talking, as Tiger said, South Avenue, Harrison to Farm. It's roughly 2,900 feet of 36-inch pipe. This time, Aquarian's on their own. There's no gas following along with us, which extends the duration of the job on 106. The gas is already in. We're talking about doing this work, not talking about it. It's already written in the contract documents once it goes out to bid after we're approved through permitting. The contractor is going to have to build this while school's out. There's 3 schools that I saw within the area. It's just not going to work during school hours. And if we cut it back to like a 9 to 2 on a school day, that's not productive for us. So we're talking as soon as school's out in June, working 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. to maximize output, run 2 crews, and get the pipe installed in one season.
How long do you think it'll take in June? Will it be done before school starts? Labor Day, you think?
It'll be done before Labor Day, yes.
Okay.
One of the reasons for it is specifically we're asking the DOT to help to allow us to run 2 crews in the area. They normally have a 1 crew restriction within a mile on a state road. We're asking for the 2 crews in order to then have, in essence, double the production and get it done in one season. So this one summer season, while school is out of session, to Mike's point, be very counterproductive to try to do it while school is in session. The time frame for work would not be not conducive to too many complaints. So with that, we've got to shut the road and then detour traffic around it. So we'd be utilizing, they're pretty easy detours since we've got Park Street on one side and Main Street on the other. It's actually quite easy for us to block off the road and block off sections and have traffic detour around. Local traffic obviously will be come through, but the majority of traffic we're going to force around the area. And like I said, the DOT just requires the LTA to say yes, this is okay for us to do, and then we'll go forward, finish bidding out the project. And in there, as Mike mentioned, that one of the parameters, the main parameter, is to do it while school is not in session and be completed before school starts.
Okay, it looks like, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead with the presentation.
I just wanted to note that emergency vehicles are allowed to pass through the site at all times, just like we're doing on 106. We have road plates. If we get a call that they need to get by, they can plate over the excavation. But generally, there is a minimal lane width that emergency vehicles could pass. They'll continue to do that on South Ave.
Okay, and you still have 1 lane open, is that correct? or both lanes would be closed?
Both lanes would be closed, but we will allow local traffic to get out and in. And emergency vehicles will be able to pass.
Okay, and are there 6 sections? I'm on the page that says C 034, 35, 36, 37, et cetera. Is that sort of the blocks you're gonna do it in? This is a second or third page of our exhibits.
I think that's the master plan page, Mike.
Master plan, I guess. I mean, I don't
Okay,
want-
that's just keying in our drawing sheets. It's
okay.
about 500 feet each section.
Okay, so why don't I stop interrupting and let you do your presentation? How's that?
Actually, I like the interaction. So if there's more questions, I'll take them. I think it
Okay,
works better.
go ahead.
I think that was pretty
Yeah.
much the presentation, and Tiger and I have discussed, and we've kind of utilized this approach before in some other projects a few years ago. I think there was one on Route 124 where they replaced a bridge, and it was, do we try to keep a lane open and extend the project into 2 years, or do we just close it off, do the detours and get it done in a matter of months? And, you know, I think with the construction fatigue that this town is feeling, I think making this a 2-year, 3-year project would be disastrous. I think people have had enough. So if we can just get this done in a few summer months, that's the way to go.
I agree. Any other questions from the commissioners?
How many months, do you believe it would take?
2 months,
2
summer,
months.
June, July, part of August.
Yeah, July,
Yeah.
August?
The entire, all the way to when school starts in August.
So
Okay,
it starts right after school gets out. Perfect.
Correct. The plan is to start as soon as school is out, mid to late
Yes.
June.
Yes.
okay, and then the detour plans look pretty straightforward. You know, you're gonna go up the 106, Main Street, et cetera. And there's plenty of side streets to go around. There's plenty of ways to do this, right? And you're not going down the middle of the street, are you? It looked like it was sort of down one lane, kind of like you did on 106.
It's more or less a bias to one side. I guess you'd call it the east side of the road.
Okay.
There are some circumstances it gets a little bit tighter, but enough that local traffic could get through.
Okay. Tiger, so you need our vote, a positive vote here?
Yes, yeah, the project needs that. There's a form that we need to fill out,
Yeah.
but it needs your positive vote to fill out that form to then give the DOT for the permit.
Okay. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, you've seen this.
Local traffic authority, this one, yeah.
Yep. Okay, can I have a motion then to approve the memo dated September 20th? To approve this project for South Avenue? The aquarium water project on South Avenue for this coming summer. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you got unanimous approval here.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thanks for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
You need a signature tonight?
I think I.
No, Jen can process it and we can get it from there. But thank you.
Okay. Would you like me to sign it on your behalf?
Yeah, you can sign up, yeah, because you're right there, so,
All right. So Tiger, I'll sign it on their behalf.
right.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Item C, approval of uniform clothing invoices and reimbursements. You've all gone through the invoices. Any questions?
No.
None?
Here.
I didn't have any. I approve them all.
I approve, but not here.
Okay, motion to approve the package of invoices
So moved.
for October 16th.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous on that. Out-of-state travel for the chief, deputy chief, and captain. Where y'all going?
We're going to Boston, the International Association of Chiefs of Police.
Boston,
Are
great.
having their annual conference in Boston this year. So being so close and driving distance, Andrew and Joe went last year to San Diego. They made me stay behind.
Wow.
So we're going from this Sunday to next Wednesday. Being that it's so,
Both
three.
be there.
all three of us are gonna be there.
Who's gonna be minding the store?
You are.
You got Saturday, I got Sunday, you got Monday.
To be honest, Jennifer runs the store anyway, so gonna be in good hands. We're so close. If something occurs, we could come back in a matter of a couple hours.
But there's the lieutenant, whoever
The
the
lieutenants will
lieutenant is.
run the show as they normally do, but if there's any kind of crisis, we'll certainly return and we'll have our vehicles with us, so.
And
we
cell
can
phones,
return,
too.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we just need your approval
Okay.
that we can travel out of state together.
Motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Aye. All in favor, aye. All right, that's approved. All right. The 26 budget preparation.
Yeah, so we've gotten notification from the finance department that it's that lovely time of year again, and we've got to start drafting our budgets. So I have to start creating our budget and submit it for a first draft review from the selectman's office and finance department. I think that's due November 8th. So we'll start putting that together. That's a very loose, rough draft start to our budget.
Yeah.
It'll get solidified as the months go on, and then we'll present to Board of Selectmen, then we'll present to our council, town council and Board of Finance liaison groups, and then to the Board of Finance and the town council. Follow normal process as we do. But I just want to let you know that we're going to start working on it. We've solicited budget requests from all of our various departments and people in their department. So we'll definitely share that with you as we start developing. I don't anticipate a huge change from last year. I started going through all of the lines. As I said earlier, our year-to-date budget, although we're, barely just over a quarter of the way into the year, we seem to be on track in most areas. So I think with last year, with the addition of the 3 new officers and all of those increases that were so wonderfully supported by all of the other town departments and the boards, I think we're in a good position this year to continue.
And I think cars and things were in great shape from last year.
Yeah.
We're in good shape there on capital basis. The building's the building. That's not our issue, but
Yeah, we have no other, other than the building, we have no other huge capital requests, anything unusual. I think the biggest thing is we're transitioning our firearms to newer firearms, but that was already talked about last year, and we did a portion of them last year to kind of soften the blow, so it wasn't all at once, but about it.
okay, good. Building renovation update. I think the question we always get asked is what's in the contingency? And the town's contingency is still at a little less than $1,900,000, and $48,000 is still there. Not to be used, but in the contingency budget. And from the Turner side, it's almost $500,000, $456,000 there, which is their contingency, but it comes back to us. So it's really our contingency anyway. So we still got about $1.4 million or so in the budget. It seemed to be pretty much under schedule right now. Hopefully midsummer or before. I'm saying late summer because we like to beat that. Originally it was, I think, Thanksgiving. So they seem to be moving along here. You see all that project going on out in front now. The sidewalks are going in. Bill Walbert's talking to the landscape people to make sure we do the right plantings and all that good stuff out in front.
Is generators coming or is there or?
Generator is, I asked
At
if
the
it was
riggers,
there and it was bolted down. I want to make sure that
Yeah.
generator is bolted down and no one's going to.
Not going to Florida.
They're not going to Florida. We love people in Florida. We love people in the Carolinas, but we want our generator. That I think in
The biggest thing was some other transformer that was at Eversource's control and we had no influence over that. So
Eversource
it's just,
is working. Turner's working with Eversource to make sure that we can plug everything in together as quickly as possible. But no No hiccups this month that I'm aware of. Letters of appreciation.
I have 2 letters, received an email from a young couple,
They had a baby
young family,
Now.
now a family. It was a couple, now it's a family.
while they were there.
What's that?
While they were there, right?
Yeah, the officers delivered a child to this family, and it was Officer Jarvis and Officer Conley responded. And their swift action and calm demeanor and professionalism made a difficult situation more manageable for the family. And they were very, very appreciative, and they got their stork pins.
Well, congratulations. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And another nice card for Officer Vartuli and her recent visit up to the New Canaan Inn to speak to the residents there. It's very nice and always well appreciated, and they appreciated her spirit of community and outreach.
Okay, the other department, let's talk about e-bikes and scooters and bikes on sidewalks and kids speeding and all that good stuff.
So this month's insight focuses specifically on e-bikes, but as we're well aware of, every community meeting or gathering that we go to, we hear the comments and the concerns of bikes in general and any kind of two-wheeled devices, scooters, e-bikes, regular bikes in the downtown area, specifically kids riding aggressively, riding on sidewalks, not following the rules of traffic as they should. So we put out an insight, focusing on e-bike laws, but also bicycle laws. We've been talking with our officers about handling the enforcement. They are doing a great job. They are out there fielding complaints from people, and they are also speaking to the youth when they see them doing something wrong. They talk to them. They'll have the parents come down, take the bikes home if the situation permits that. We're likely going to start increasing enforcement if the situation presents itself that the kids are repeat offenders or overly aggressive or egregious in their violations. The statutes do allow us to cite the parents with an infraction for the children's behavior on the bikes. So, we'd rather not do that. We'd rather get voluntary compliance. I think the coming cold weather is going to help us in that. I think fewer and fewer kids are going to want to be on their bikes in the next month or so, but it's something that we're very aware of, and the community is very sensitive to it. And I'm sure you're out in downtown, you've all seen it, we've all seen it. So we are working with our officers, and we are trying to get them to engage with the community and engage with the kids that are riding their bikes throughout town. And at the same time, we don't want to discourage kids from riding their bike to school or riding down South Avenue safely on the sidewalk rather than in the road when it's dangerous too. So it's not as easy as just telling all the kids to get off the road and get off their bikes. We do want to encourage kids to ride their bikes in a healthy manner and a safe manner, but they have to be aware that they can't go on trails in the parks, they can't go on sidewalks, they can't go against traffic. Riding a wheelie down the center lane of the road is very dangerous. So it's something that we need to work on as a community, not just us alone.
I have a question about it. Of course, the electric bikes now are something relatively new. And I've heard from a lot of people about what they think are dangerous situations. And with teenage boys, no matter how hard you try, they're going to do these things.
Mhm.
So I'm asking out of a point of ignorance, but I guess that's where I'm always at. But when I was a kid, every once in a while, you'd see someone with a motorbike, and they were always afraid of getting caught by the cops, so because I guess it was illegal. I think it was illegal to have a motorbike if you were underage 16 or whatever. Is it different now because they're electric? Are they suddenly legal now? If you're under 16, that you can?
It's basically the amount of power. So anything motorized like a gas engine, it would be something that's under 50 cc's is permitted. Anything over 50 cc's, you need a license, register, all that stuff. And with e-bikes, there's 3 classifications for it. It's in your package.
Yeah.
And basically it's
Well, it's a matter of state law, so it's nothing we can resolve, but they're just making them illegal, how many, regardless of how many cc's or volts they are. Just, you can't,
that's just.
you can ride a bike, but you can't ride a motorized bike when you're under 16. Period.
And the statute does allow the towns to impose ordinances, and that could be something that the town council may wish to impose, that,
Yeah.
you know, no one in New Canaan can
Well,
utilize.
under a
an
certain
electric-
age,
no one under 16.
or
could-
18,
I mean, they could-
whatever, I don't know.
You know, they could say no one under a certain age
I
could
just
ride
think-
any bike downtown in the business district. There's a number of things that they can do. Do we want to do that? You know, because
You'd get
I think.
pushback, but
Well, they're all, you know, the flip side of that is last Friday, I did ride around town for about an hour between 3 and 4 PM, which you would think would be probably the busiest time for kids to be out. And I did see 2 young boys, you know, early teenagers come from Dunkin' Donuts on their electric bike, go south on South Avenue, stopped at the red light, had their helmets on, buckled, waited for the red light to turn green. They proceeded through the intersection. And still somebody beeped the horn at them and shook their head. So, you know, there might be a perception issue too, where, you know, just the mere kids being out there might make some people angry. I'm not saying that the kids aren't doing some of the things that they're doing, but
yeah.
I don't know
It's
that
almost
we,
inevitable,
you know, I don't know that we want to impose a town-wide ordinance. It's certainly something we can. And it may be something that we
And that
have
goes
to.
through Town council.
That would go through the town council, and that may be something that we revisit. Like I said, winter's coming, so I think this is gonna be self-correcting once the weather drops and it gets darker, but
Yeah.
it may be something that we have to pick up again next spring. So it's certainly something that we'll consider and we'll work together. And I know the town council has been very supportive of that and very open to that, discussing that, so we can work with our partners in the town council to work on that if we do need to in the future.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other matters? Just get that, if you would, get that social media out there to get people to wear reflectors and.
Nicole has got about 20 things that she's got to post on there, walkers and.
I mean, look, it's not even 7, it's
Yeah.
pitch black out there.
Yeah.
People are still walking their dogs and not
Yeah,
wearing a flashlight.
yeah, she's got a few things that I've asked her to put out in the next coming weeks, but that will be out there.
Okay,
I want to get that out before Halloween and
Yeah.
the time change.
In front of the PD, now that they're doing the sidewalk, there's the barrier is out almost on the street. With Halloween coming, talking with a couple other building committee people, we might need to do something there, because kids will try to walk on the sidewalk and then they'll walk.
We
between
talked
the
about that at the
street.
last building committee meeting. That's
Yeah.
going to be something that's going to be addressed
Yeah,
through
work on that.
Turner and
then-
Public Works.
Got it.
So
Okay, good.
they are aware of that.
Do we need an executive session? I have nothing.
I don't think so, not at this point.
Okay, motion to adjourn at 6:55. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.